21st. We directed an independent lab to test all fuel storage.
The last thing I want to do is to vote to spend another $1 or $2 billion on a new bridge. So Administrator Bhatt, talk to me on what you see as a path forward here on the payment for this thing.
In terms of the payment, as I've stated, right now there's a preliminary estimate, $1.7 to $1.9 billion. There's a $350 million insurance payment that we're working through to see what level of that would be applicable. And any funds that are recovered through legal activity or insurance payouts will go back into the ER funds. We just don't have a path to getting there right now in terms of what is eligible.
The Scott Key Bridge tragically collapsed. President Biden came out and said it was his.
The federal government states, bridge owners, they need to evaluate current structures and make sure if you have navigable waterway that you are doing a risk analysis to ensure safety, to ensure there's adequate peer protection.
It is our intention, because the bridge previously existed.
Administrator Bhatt, can you tell us how this bridge collapse impacts interstate commerce?
What is so critically important for our transportation system is that you can drive from New York to Los Angeles across a system that is completely uniform, is set to standards. And what is happening, I think we've learned through the port of Baltimore, is that that highway system is tied into ports. It's the third busiest port in the country. So there are jobs that are being impacted. There's freight movements that are being impacted. There are neighborhoods that are being impacted. And so, yeah, this is not just an issue for Maryland. It's an issue for the Northeast Corridor and for our national economy.
Chairwoman Hamady and Administrator.
I think here is really determining for us what happened with the electrical system on the accident voyage, what happened in those two blackouts, and which is why we have been working very closely with Hyundai, who manufactures the equipment to try to replicate some of the electrical problems that we're seeing that day, and continue looking and testing each of the components.
This is for appearing, and thank you for the work that you.
I think the key here is you have a bridge that was opened in 1977, and over time, it's not the bridge that's getting larger, it's not the waterway that's getting larger, it's the vessels that are getting larger, and not just width, but height with containers. And so it's important that states and other bridge owners are looking at, from a risk assessment standpoint, what is now going through, what is the vessel traffic, and how is our infrastructure protected.
I think what this bridge incident has done is driven home that need to look at many of our bridges, which are older, and look at that protection, and we're going to rely on the NTSB recommendations. Again, there was a lot of force. I've heard different analogies of the force, the equivalent of a rocket ship taking off. And so we just want to be careful in our consideration of how we both protect and build bridges in the 21st century as they're dealing with these new potential threats.